Hi, I'm Jason Hill.
And I'm James Blackburn.
And this is No Joke Survival.
Preparations for the average family.
Now our goal is to teach you some simple and easy ways so you can get started with prepping in case of a natural disaster or a crisis situation.
And on this week's episode, we're going to go over protection.
That's right, protecting what you have. And hey, there's Danny.
Speaking of protection.
Whoa, don't shoot.
I didn't do it.
I know, not today. How are we doing today?
Co-host Danny Lensky, thanks for being here.
Yes, and we do have a guest again later on, so I'm going to go run work on the beginner's box for a minute, and then go ahead and bring him in a little bit later.
Fantastic.
All right.
See ya.
All right, thanks, Danny.
Put that away.
I believe so. Are you scared?
Do I have to answer that? Maybe just a little?
We're not scared.
So the basic concept of this show is protection and being able to protect what you have in case there's a crisis or stuff's going wrong and people are in the streets looting or rioting or whatever else.
Exactly.
And
really brings us to why protection is important.
Yeah.
Well, obviously in a crisis situation, some folks are going to go right for the looting. Mm-hmm. And doesn't mean they're going to loot big grocery store chains. They may loot your house.
Yeah, I mean, obviously theft is rampant without there being a crisis.
Yeah, exactly.
But as soon as you get a situation where people are desperate now for food, water, supplies, it's going to be even more so.
Yep, desperation, you're absolutely right, will change the way people behave, unfortunately. And sometimes, can be a good thing to be focused on your survival as long as you're not in the process of hurting other people,
Yeah. But with that, in a severe crisis situation, even the good people, people that normally wouldn't do bad things, they may be out there trying to take care of their families, their kids, finding food. Right. They may not want to hurt you, but they may try to take what you have. And the goal is to be able to protect what you have so that you can survive longer.
Right, and then hopefully while you're protecting yourself and your stash of food and water and whatnot, the crisis situation will pass and life will hopefully get back to normal after that. It depends on the kind of situation that you're in, of course.
Yeah, and along with that, you have to be in the right state of mind to be able to protect yourself. How far are you willing to go if someone's breaking into your house to steal or rob from you? And these are things that you kind of got to think about ahead of time to know what type of weapons and or lack thereof you're going to protect yourself with.
Right, and to the weapon thing, real quick, one thing that people don't think about a lot is learning how to use it.
That's right.
It seems like a gun is just point and click, but there's so much more to it than that. So it's very important that folks take the time to not only put in the back of their mind these situations that could come up, but to also practice using these sort of things.
Sure. If your form of protection is a baseball bat, go out to the range and swing that thing a few times and, just get used to how it feels to swing it.
Exactly. And there's even safety classes you can take for firearms and stuff like that to learn how to, use them properly without getting yourself injured or killed, possibly, yeah.
That's right.
And one thing you mentioned to me earlier was that those who are unprepared will look for those who are prepared.
Yeah, and so, I've heard the term OPSEC, or security, and basically it's not announcing on Facebook to everybody, hey, I've got a secret bunker and it's stockpiled with 2 years worth of food and ammo, and, because if something happens, where's everyone going to go?
They're going to head to
They're going to your place.
The secret bunker that they told everybody about. Yeah.
Exactly. And so you want to keep whatever you have quiet, you don't want to announce it to everybody, because the people that are unprepared are going to look for the ones that are. It also includes family members.
Yeah.
And so you may have enough food and water for you and your wife and kids, but then the brother-in-law shows up with his wife and kids, and then the sister, and then mom and pa, and then before you know it, you don't have the supplies to last long enough.
Right, you had maybe supplies for 4 people, but now you have 10. And you're not going to obviously turn away your own family,
Yeah, and so, maybe you have a neighbor. Are you willing to turn away your neighbor in order to keep those supplies for you and your family?
Right, which actually comes into another thing too. If the neighbor and you team up, I mean, then you maybe have a stronger network. Hopefully, you got those supplies that you can
Yeah,
do
and
stuff
we'll
with.
talk more about that when we come back from the break. We have a lot of great information for you, so stick around. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It is. This is one of the best episodes we're going to do ever.
As long as we can.
Hi, welcome back.
I'm Jason Hill,
And I'm James Blackburn.
and on this segment we're talking about home protection. And
And we actually already have our guest, Roy. Roy, when you
Great.
come on out, this is Roy Gideon. He's
Hello.
here to help teach us about
doing, sir?
protection. So
Nice to meet you.
I need to finish up with the beginner's box per usual. I need another few minutes, so I'm gonna get out of your way, and I'll be listening in the other rooms.
all right, thank you,
She'll be
Danny.
supervising us. Make sure we do it right.
Well, welcome to No Joke Survival.
Thank you for
Can you
having me.
tell us your name and a little bit about yourself?
I'm Roy Gideon, co-owner of Deliberate Defense. We currently train concealed handgun for New Mexico and Florida. We do most NRA pistol training. We have metallic cartridge reloading. We're working on some protective rifle courses coming up.
Nice.
So, and I am a rifle marksmanship instructor for 500-yard to build 500-yard skills.
Fantastic.
Very cool, yeah.
And not everyone is into weapons and firearms, but if you are, it's a good thing to practice and get those skills.
It's actually practice is really where it's at, because it's simply having familiarity with your firearm. It doesn't matter what it is. If you're not comfortable with it, you won't perform as well when you really want to.
Well, and that's the thing. When you're in a stressful situation, your mind doesn't work quite the same way, so that it's that muscle memory that's going to allow you to be able to react when someone's coming
Yes.
at you or attacking or something.
We state that when you are in a stressful situation, you go from finite motor skills to gross motor skills. So it's really important to have the muscle memory built.
Fantastic.
So it's automatic. The movements are
Yes.
already there
Yes.
because you've done it so many times.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. So what are some popular weapons for home defense?
Well, probably the most popular home defense firearms are handguns, and of course there'll be shotguns and rifles. The shotguns and rifles, they're in a home, they're a little bit more cumbersome, and they require some forethought and practice. Actually, having walked through the home, and because you take if you don't mind me using your rifle
yeah.
rack, which I just love.
Go right
but
ahead.
Take a look at this shotgun here. It's designed for hunting. So going around corners, through rooms and things like this, it's kind of unwieldy in a lot of respects, and you can expose yourself more. Handguns, you can tend to stand back. They're short. You can bring them in tight, stick them out. You have a rifle. Love rifles. But again, there's some over-penetration potential there too, right? And they're a little longer. And it requires practice and some forethought. Then you take this last shotgun, which is much shorter. It helps to protect you because you can be closer to cover or concealment, or you can come around a corner quicker and easier, so you're not as exposed for as long.
Yeah, that would be me with the long shotgun. I'd go to come out of the room and hit it against the door frame. It'd knock me in the head
It can
and
happen.
hit the floor.
You should walk the house with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I might try that this afternoon just for fun because I hadn't even thought about that,
Yeah.
especially if it's the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a whole different scenario then.
Well, I heard you mention ball bats. I'm going to jump on that real quick, but I'm in a small home, and if my hallway from the bedrooms, it would be tough to swing.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's something, again, I'm not saying don't. I'm saying take a look at it and walk the house with it.
Yeah,
that
and
is really
and also with the handguns and the shotgun thing, obviously anytime you're using any kind of a weapon or a firearm, you're responsible for that. And
Yes,
so
very much.
with a firearm, a handgun, that round may go through walls
Yes.
and potentially hurt somebody somewhere else.
Yes.
Whereas depending on the type of shot with the shotgun, it's more likely that it will not penetrate walls depending on what you use. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. One thing I would like to talk about is this over-penetration and having a plan for a safe room, because you need to know where the people you love are. So there can be a retreat option, and then you can go into a defensive mode if you need to. But you take a pistol, and it can penetrate, I think they say it'll penetrate 3 sheetrock walls at 10 feet apart. So that's a lot.
That's a couple rooms.
A rifle's the same
easily.
way, depending on the type of rifle, and it can go through 4 and more. Now the shotgun, depending on that, will give it up much quicker. It also spreads in a broader pattern. So again, what's your background, right? Making sure it's not somebody that you care about or something you care about.
Exactly.
You
don't
know,
want
so the
any
shotgun
accidents.
has they're wonderful, but they have another added feature of a spread pattern.
Well, and one thing about all the different types of firearms we're talking about right now is you need ammo. And now,
Yes.
how much ammo is good to have on hand?
Boy, that's a very personal question. It is.
Yeah.
But,
And
you
I
know,
agree, I think you're right.
It is. So, you know, ammo can be used in a situation like you're talking about. It can be very much a barter item. So, but it's very firearm specific, right? So, is it barter? You know, for personal protection, what if you had an extended issue and you had 200 rounds or 2,000 rounds of 22? It's only 4 boxes.
Yeah.
But shotgun takes a lot more room, right? So, is it a couple hundred rounds or 100 rounds? Rifle, is that 1,000? Or in your handguns, 1,000 rounds? Personally, I'm the 1,000 round guy. But
Yeah, some people say too much is not enough.
But again, it's a barter item. It
Yeah,
is.
absolutely.
It's tradable. You know, you can get services or things you need.
Yeah,
So,
that's very true. I
yeah.
hadn't even thought about that. It's not just for protection, but for bartering also.
Yeah.
Now, there's obviously going to be some people that aren't comfortable with a gun. What are some other options that someone could use in their home to protect themselves?
All right. Well, we can go down quite a long list, but there's the ball bat. There's OC spray, mace, pepper spray.
OC, can you elaborate on that?
It's
Pepper spray,
it's
right?
pepper spray is what
Okay.
it is. Yeah, I can't remember but it's pepper spray. It's what burns you when you peel that green chili and rub your eye.
Gotcha.
You know, same. Now
Capsaicin.
on the spray, what I'd like to mention is that you can get it in many different sizes. You can get it from all the way from pocket to a can that holds almost. You can pull a trigger on it and use it. The bigger the particular OC spray canister, typically the farther you are able to use it. The drawback to OC spray is that you can get it on yourself, so you need to understand that you're going to be dealing with possibly being sprayed too. And it doesn't work on 3% of the population. And so that 3%, you're going to get a flinch. It doesn't necessarily work right away either. So there's going to be a flinch reaction. Is that your time to retreat, to change what you're doing, or to become assertive?
And sometimes fleeing is definitely the best option. I mean, you want to protect your family and your home, but you also have to look at the situation. If there's
Very much.
20 people coming in your front door and you don't have the means to protect yourself, that pepper spray or something to distract them as
Yes.
you are all running out the back door may be the best
It
option.
buys you a moment of time that may help you escape.
And I think that's kind of what we're really trying to get here is it's not so much what you use for protection, but to think about it ahead of time
Yes.
so that when it happens, you're not just stuck.
No.
You know, preparedness is just the key to making good decisions.
Right. Well, what we do is one of the things when we talk about our training, especially concealed carry, and then we have a hands-on, I call it concealed carry part 2, and we teach these things, but we never teach to be aggressive up front. And, you know, but look at scenarios, and the more aware you are, the better off you are. You're ahead of the game by being aware.
Yeah, and
Gotcha.
being aware definitely is half of it, you know, of knowing what's going on around you, as well as what could potentially happen later.
If you can
So-
see it, you may be able to avoid it.
Yeah, very true. Speaking of seeing it, here is
Welcome.
Danny.
Right on.
Da-da-da, with our beginner's box.
Beginner's box!
Beginner's box. We need to come up with a
We need
beginner's
to
box
jingle it.
dance.
I'll let you all do the dance, and I'll just kind of sound noisemakers. So today we have the beginner's box for protection, and one thing that as I was actually just about to head in, I heard us talking about pepper spray. So I think that we're gonna go ahead and start off with that one. And I mean, there's a number of different kinds of pepper spray, and I'm gonna hand this one to you to let you.
Okay,
allude
so
to.
one thing I want to ask you, do you carry this all the time in your hand?
Not in my hand. It's on my keychain.
You should.
That's the problem.
Secondly, if you're carrying them, shake them. Okay, they need to be mixed. They'll separate. Okay, I carry mine in my hand all the time.
Well, and it's something I was always taught as well is that it's good to test them. You know, I mean, obviously you got to be outside. You know, not necessarily in the wind, but just to make sure that they still work. And so,
Once you discharge it, I'd replace it,
Really?
and I would replace them yearly. they're cheap.
Okay. Yep.
And it's
Yeah.
cheap insurance.
They're
Very
fairly
true.
inexpensive. If they're made with pepper spray, can you put that like on a pasta or something? Can you spray that?
If you really like the
Yeah,
spice,
I don't know that
imagine
they're
you
toxic,
could.
but I don't know if they're really good for consumption.
So
That's all
here,
attached there.
That's why I'm trying to pull off. This one here is just a general kind of all-around survival knife. We have attached, we have the flint and steel in case, you know, the power goes out, which we touched in on an earlier episode. We have the sharpener already attached, and I believe that this one is your baby, so I'm going to let you.
Yeah,
play
this
with it.
this one of my favorites, a Gerber LMF2, and it also has a striker. So if you have to break glass or whatever, you can pound it with this end. You can hammer with it. It's very durable. It's a full tang knife, and so you know if you're in close combat, like you said, maybe you're in a hallway or something, you might be able to be hiding around a door if you know someone's coming in your house. A knife may be a better option as opposed to a long shotgun that as you're swinging it,
They can get their hands
yeah,
on
they
it.
just grab onto
Point
it,
it
you know,
away,
or
yeah.
something
And,
like that.
and to touch on a knife as well, something that I was taught in martial arts is, you know, an extended and a straight joint is a broken joint. And so if you're doing anything, you know, you never want to try and, because then people can easily stomp on something and then it'll just bend the other way. And you want to make sure, again, just like rifles, you want to make sure that you know what you're doing.
Yes.
And so if you were,
I'd like to say that a knife, actually, if you're going to use it in self-defense, there is training to be had with it too. It's important. It's not just
sure.
to pick it up. There's a lot of do's and don'ts with that. So again, some more training.
Education.
Education.
So, you know, if you were one of those kids who played with some slingshots, this isn't exactly small enough for my arm. But I'm going to hand this to you. I
you
wasn't
go.
a kid with a slingshot. I had rubber bands. I had rubber band wars when I was, that's how it works.
There you go. I love slingshots.
I didn't ever use
They're-
these guys.
Well, one of the nice things about slingshots is they're silent.
Yes.
So they can make a great weapon when you don't want people to know what you have.
Yep.
Exactly.
True.
Now, when we come back from the break, we're going to have us a fun contest. Roy, Gideon, we want to thank you again
Thank
for
you
being
for
on our
having me.
show and giving us
Appreciate
some
it.
great
Thanks a lot.
information. And for more information, we'll be able to have your website up on our website.
Great. DeliberateDefense.com.
All right.
Thank you.
This is cool. Hi, and welcome back. I'm Jason Hill.
I'm James Blackburn.
And I'm Danny Linsky.
And today's episode, we're talking about protection and being able to protect the stuff that you have in case something goes wrong. And we had left off with the slingshot, which
Yep.
I like those because it's a great silent option.
Yes.
And, you know, I guess in the old Bible story, it worked for David and Goliath,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
The swinging slingshot.
Goliath
But
went down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's also some other options that I wanted to touch on briefly, and one would be security cameras, which we have one set up right over here. It just allows you to see what's going on outside of your home. They have them with night vision, and so you know it's a good way to know what's going on outside. Basically, gives you a little bit of time to prepare if someone's trying to come in.
Well, and there's a
Exactly.
number of like cheap ways to set up like sound alarms if you want to set up a tripwire or whatnot.
Sure.
If you're out far enough away, probably if you did it in your front yard, the mailman would hate you for it. If you had it every day. But that way you can really think proactively versus reactionary as far as keeping yourself protected. So.
Very good.
Yeah, exactly.
And another great option is roof.
Yes.
Yes. Guard dog.
Not just
Guard dogs.
Not just
Guard
me.
dogs.
Do you like my lead in there? Was I making
Roof. I got
dog
the reference there. So.
Yes.
Yes, a guard dog is very protective of the family that they've been raised around. In particular, you know, I've seen German Shepherds that won't even allow a kid to wrestle with another kid because he thinks the kid's being hurt. So yeah, guard dogs are awesome.
And I think the key with those, their hearing is way better than ours.
And there's
you have to sleep sometime, and so having that little early warning can be a good thing to protect yourself and your home. So lots of different ways. People can explore what works for them. We do have a contest today.
knife.
I'm excited about this one.
This one looks like a dangerous,
I
the
love
most
the
dangerous
contest. They're my
contest that we've
favorite
done
ever.
yet.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so let me explain real quick. What we have here is shooting battleship. Now these are shooting targets to where if you're actually shooting with a bullet, it's a little paint target. We're going to use these little stickums. And Danny, you're going to take the red side.
My favorite color.
James, you're going to take the green.
Yes, I
And
like green.
we're going to go until you've fired all of your darts. Okay?
All right.
And so what you want to do is try to get it in the red. And whoever has the most of any one ship, well, with the exception of the single one. Although if you get it right on there,
Maybe that's like
we'll
an extra
count
10
that.
points, yeah.
Yeah.
You count that. And so you're going to just try to get as many as you can, and then we'll decide who the winner
All
is.
right.
after we're done.
Well, I will admit, I'm not good with these kind of guns.
All
If
right.
you give me water guns, then that's a whole different story.
Excellent.
All right.
So,
I better stand back here
pull,
behind you.
shoot. Oh, okay.
So that can shoot.
Is this stacking the deck in my favor? I'd like to think so. All right.
now remember, take your aggressions out on the targets.
Never point anything
On
at
your mark.
someone.
Get set. Go.
Oh, I didn't even hit the target.
Stop. Is that even legal? Can we do a reshoot? Oh. I think if your stuff lands on my side, then
Oh,
that was
reload,
totally
reload,
unfair.
Oh,
reload.
this is great.
I almost wondered if we needed to get a little bit of something to give him a little extra stick. But
Well, Danny's in the
I'm
lead.
too far away.
yeah. I think if we get points just for letting him stick on
I was
there.
going to say, maybe you got to lick them a little bit. Just wet your finger and hit the tip of them.
All right.
Maybe it'll stick
I'm sure
better.
if we had some 8-year-old, they're thinking, oh
They
my
probably
gosh,
would've
these people do not know
Sank
how to
our
play
battleships
games.
already.
But sunk my own battleship because
Oh!
success. Oh, I shot my own.
Danny's doing so much better than
I
you,
know,
James.
I'm not doing so well, am I?
That's a shame.
I really
Step
thought
back for
that
you.
you'd
Make
have
you feel
gotten
I
one.
would have sank at least one battleship by now, but
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
Keep going.
Ready
Keep
for
going. We
it?
got to get a winner.
I think we almost need theme music, some kind of
Yeah.
really action-packed something.
Well, not one of you has actually gotten in the red yet, or in the green.
oh,
I'm waiting for just one solid hit on the destroyer, the PT boat, anything.
So,
all right, this is the
You gotta
best
be-
contest ever.
Oh!
I sank the
Keep going.
battleship.
Oh, she's
Oh,
cheating.
come on. That's it.
Oh
never point a gun at someone
Oh,
unless you
oh.
take fire.
You cheated.
You
But
guys.
I'm out. I surrender. I don't have a white flag.
no! All right. Well, this has been a great episode. You guys can keep shooting at each other.
Can we now?
For more information, you can go to facebook.com/nojokesurvival. While you're there, you can interact with us. You can ask us questions. We will try to answer them as best as possible. You can also
I'm sure we'll be alive.
check our
Still.
our website, www.nojokesurvival.com, where we have links
I like
to
that.
videos.
Let's just aim for Jason.
And you can check out our Twitter account as well. So we'll upload a lot more information, detailed information. So please check us out. Interact with us. We'd love to hear your questions and comments and try to make this show as best as possible. So you guys, this was a bad idea. I'm never giving you weapons again.
Well, when something is that squishy, I mean, you really get so excited.
All
So I
right.
think you sank more water than me.
I did. You can sink water. You don't know
You
how
got
many
it.
creatures are in the water that can capsize.
James is the winner, though. He actually sank one.
I did utterly cheat.
Here you
on
go.
that one.
You want one? I think these guys.
See if you.
Bullseye. All right, thanks, folks.
Thanks for joining us.
And some of these other ones right here, we have things falling on the ground. Oh, I think I may have wet myself a little bit.
If you're up on a mountain, you may want to go down into a valley, you know, or observe the area. Some lime.
Oh my God, what is that? What is that, dude?
Probably a Sasquatch. They're all over the place.
This is important. You don't want to wipe your backside with something that might be poisonous.
What you want to do is literally just sit down, and listen.
I kind of blew my way through there pretty badly. There was a lot of outtakes. It's back, dude! It's back! Ah! Where is it? There it goes!
That's awesome. You never know what you're going to find in the wild. I love it. Or some sort of area where you're going to find people and be rescued.
Oh, man, that hurts! Now for a blooper.
I literally got cancer. While I was talking, I could feel it crawling down my butt crack.